Alrighty, guys. This is Mr. Salazar. I am doing a Zoom video for you guys to go over one of the lessons so we can kind of cut down a little bit on time. And so the one lesson I'm going to be looking at today is it's lesson 1.4, and we're doing 1.4 C, I believe. It is this one right here. This is how systems of oppression impacted African American communities today. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to fill in the answers necessarily. What I'm going to do is just kind of guide you in this. This will be serve as a guide, so you'll be filling in the answers. So in case there's not any clarification on these answers. All right. So once again, like I always do, I'm going to put my fake name, and we'll do this and go through this together. They always feature this pause, just to let you know that some of the stuff is pretty rough to look at. Okay, so the theme we're looking at is how have systems of oppression impacted African American communities today? Examine the images and answer the questions below. Here we have two images. We have a picture of O.J. Simpson. And here's another picture of O.J. Simpson. And right off the bat, you can notice something different about these two pictures. In 1994, former professional athlete O.J. Simpson was arrested for murder, an event that made headlines across the United States. Magazines like Newsweek and Time placed the image of his mugshot on the covers. Some critics said that by darkening the photo of Mr. Simpson's face, Simpson's face, Time gave him a more sinister appearance and thus guilty of racism. And it's true, they actually darkened him, and they wanted to make him look blacker and to make him more sinister, to make him look more evil. And that's really sad that they were doing that to try to trying to appear to be more. There's that stereotype: the darker African Americans are, the more dangerous they are. So what you're going to do here is you're going to list 3 to 5 things you see in this image. And so you could be something as simple as like the name of the magazines. You can see the name of the person. You can see the titles, the cover, right? The skin color. So I want you to list 3 to 5 things that you see there. Second question is explain what each detail tells you about the system of oppression impact African American communities today. It tells me what? What does it tell? What does it say about African Americans? There's a stereotype, we talked about that in the African American community. It's people react, they believe that for some reason that they think that darker African Americans tend to be more criminal-like, that the darker skin, they have to be more careful, and they appear to be more evil. So it could be something along those lines, right? What questions do you have? All right, what kind of questions do you have? Do you have questions such as like, why did they do this? Why do they feel the need to do this? All right. And then write a caption for the image. The image shows how systems of oppression impact African American community by what are they doing? What are these images doing? Are they, the darker version of OJ appears to be more evil? That could be a caption. That's a question, but it's a rhetorical question. It's a sarcastic question. I'm just going to hit letters here because I'm not going to answer this. So yours is not going to look like that. Okay. We're on to the second image here. In 2008, Vogue magazine published an edition that featured model Gisele Bündchen and professional athlete LeBron James on the cover. The magazine, the photographer Annie Leibovitz drew criticism for the way they used this resembled a famous World War Army enlisted poster that characterized America's enemies as brutes that should be destroyed. All right, and if you look at this picture, it is very similar in terms of the face that LeBron's making and this animal right here, and Gisele Bündchen, thin, pretty blonde hair, kind of looking in distress. And this picture right here was to illustrate the Germans in World War I. And they said that we have to destroy this brute, this animal. This person is the enemy. They are, they're out to kill us. And so they did that. And if you see this picture, people would look at this as like, wait a minute, why is this happening here again? Is this person the enemy? Is this person less than human because he's African American? Is he not a true American? You know, and so there's a lot of questions to be asked about this. So what I want you guys here to do is to list 3 to 5 things that you see in this image. What is going on here? All right. Same thing. Number 6, explain what each detail tells you about how system oppression impact African American communities today. It tells you what? It can tell you a lot about how Americans see African Americans. You know, not every American, but there's a big majority of Americans who see African Americans as other, or see them less than, or see them as a threat, or see them as the enemy. So you could say something like that. What questions do you have? I wonder. One question you could ask is, why did LeBron do this? Did he realize what he was doing? Was LeBron okay with this? Right? Why did the Americans feel the need to paint the Germans like that? Right? And then write a caption for the image. What could you say that would summarize this image right here? All right, so once again, I'm just going to put letters here because I can't advance unless I answer his questions. Okay, it says write a paragraph to explain how these images help you answer the focus question. You can use sentence starters if you need help. African Americans are impacted by systems of oppression still today because, well, the way they're portrayed in the media. They tend to focus on crimes that African Americans commit and not crimes what other groups could put on. So you could say, you know, if you look a certain way, you are going to be oppressed. In the first image, you can see this because, once again, the darker you appear to be, the more of a threat you're supposed to be, according to certain people. The second image. In the second image, you can see, the darker skin. They're trying to make a connection to being more animal-like. The images tell me that African Americans are impacted by system oppression still today. Well, because things really haven't improved in a lot of ways for African Americans. I still see they're judged a lot of times based on their skin color, or what they look like, or how they wear their hair. Before people judge them on their character. All right. And then what I left off here, if you want to watch, it's about 16, 17 minutes long. It's the O.J. Simpson. I've seen or heard of it, but this is kind of like a compilation of news clips that was that was in the news on June 17th, 1994, and it kind of shows what happened that day. All right, so if you want to look at it, you can. So I'm going to stop the video right here, and I will be sharing this to you. You'll be seeing it on an attachment for the Google Classroom. All right, guys, we'll talk to you later.